RD here. I'm back with a review of the Cheerson CX-10WD mini FPV drone. This is actually a Nano quad. Let's go ahead and take this out and look at it. It comes inside of its own little carrying case with inside the controller, which is really cool. As you can see, it's the size of the other CX-10s, except for that it is a little bit thicker because of the camera inside. It comes in 3 different colors. There's a gray, and then it comes in a rosy red and a gold. And you can control this one. What's neat about this is you can control this one with both the controller or the built-in app. And it also has altitude hold, which is a new feature for this. And the way it uses the altitude hold is the controller itself, it returns to the center position, and that allows you to keep your altitude as you're flying along. Now the app itself that comes to use with it, you need to make sure that you get the correct app, because the app from the Google Play Store, if you're on Android, that one is not designed for this particular model. It is for just the Wi-Fi version. If you use it from the Play Store, you're going to end up controlling the quad. It's going to take over control of the quad, the app, and you're not going to be able to use your controller. So you need to make sure that you get the correct app. At the time of making this video, you need to get the app from the Chinese Play Store, and I'm going to have a link to that in the description of this video. So if you get that one, then you're all set to go. It records its video and takes pictures, but it does not store it on the quad itself. There's no SD card slot here, so you have to record all that stuff to the phone, and it puts it into your gallery, so it's easy to access. It is only SD, 480p video. It is not high definition, but it doesn't look bad for a quad. The quad itself has blue LEDs in the front, and it has red in the back, and they work fairly well for a quad this size, especially if you're flying indoors or in the dark. It has a charge time of about 25 minutes. You will use the provided yellow cable that comes with it. This is standard with all the Cheerson CX-10s. It comes with 4 spare props. Of course, you know, these are pretty easy to bust, so the 4 spare props are indeed an important feature. The instruction manual that comes with it is actually really good. You never know with these quads. They come from China. I was actually very impressed with the English translation. Many times that is not the case. So it goes through here, tells you about the app itself, tells you, you can use the app controls on the screen, or you can use the built-in gyro on your phone to fly, or in the case of this particular model, the transmitter also, which I highly recommend. It is much better to fly with the transmitter than to try to fly with your phone. Just use the phone for the FPV features. Back to the transmitter, one neat feature about this I just realized is that you can actually pull this out and you have a really wide controller, which is really cool. So, you know, if you've got rather big hands, I don't have that large hands, but you can set it, you know, get a nice width to it, a nice base to hold it, and that's really cool. So, you know, when I fly, I might have it a little bit more than that, but you do not have to have it all the way in. So you can pull it all the way out and then away you go. The transmitter controls itself. The left stick, you click that in, and that is going to be for your rates or your modes of flight. You press it once and you get 2 beeps, and that is your intermediate mode. Press it again, you get 3 beeps, and that is your expert mode. And it's a little sportier in those other modes. The yaw seems to increase a little bit, but it's not a drastic change in the yaw. The right stick, you press that in once, and then that puts you in your 3D flips mode. You just press the way you want to go, and it flips, and you'll see that later in the flight video. The upper left button on this, I would not mess with. That's your mode 1 or 2. It comes in mode 2, which most people fly, which is right stick, you know, the right stick pitch and roll, and that is what, you know, like I said, what most people are used to. The the right upper buttons here is going to be for your 1-key takeoff and your 1-key landing, and you have to use the 1-key or 1-touch takeoff, they call it, to actually take off. You cannot do anything with the sticks to get it to go to take off, and that's partially because of that recentering position with the left stick. So you take off, it goes up a little bit, and then you take control, and then when you get close you can use this to land by pressing down, or you can actually manually land it yourself. So let's move on to the app itself. Now once you get the correct app, which hopefully soon the Google Play Store will have the correct one, it is called the CX-10 Wi-Fi app. It didn't change the name at all, they just simply added a feature to it to where you can control using the transmitter, and the app itself will not take over control, which causes a huge issue because you couldn't use both with the Play Store version. First thing you're going to do though is when you turn on the quad so that it's now transmitting to Wi-Fi, you're going to go to your settings and you go to your Wi-Fi, and it's going to show up in there. Sure. So let's go a little closer so we can see. It's the CX-10WD. You press connect, and now it's connected. Now sometimes it will say that app is actually stopped, and it's because it's running in the background. It's not a big deal, it's still connected. Just for some reason the app crashes, but it's only because it's in the background of the phone. You go ahead and press it and it will go ahead and start up. And as you can see, it is picking up the FPV feed. Now the important thing to do here is you're not going to want these controls on there because you're going to be using the transmitter. So what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to press the on button to make it off, and that takes away those controls. At this point, really, the only real important things now is going to be the photo button. You hear it make the sound, take a picture, and the video, which will start, and then press it again to stop. And that's going to, like I said, going to be saved to to your gallery on your phone, so it's easy to access. But if you do want to use the app to fly, you can just take your phone out of this and you can fly it. You have the rate modes, 30, 60, and 100%, which is your 1, 2, 3 beeps on your transmitter, your modes. You have a accelerometer calibration, and over here you have a button that flips the screen depending on which way you have your phone inserted into the holder. So that's pretty neat. But like I said, I prefer the transmitter. I don't think the app is really that ideal for flying, but if you're in a pinch and you just want to fly it and your transmitter batteries are dead or something, well, it does work well, especially the altitude hold version. This flies better with the app than the older versions like the CX-10W. But it's a really smooth flyer when you take off. It's not as a real agile little Nano, but it flies well, it holds its position well, and it works quite well when you want to fly FPV. So it's really neat that they've packed all this into a little quadcopter like this. To calibrate the gyros manually, you're going to pull the sticks down and to the right, and then the quad lights will flash, and they're flashing right now because I've not binded everything up, and I believe the quad's batteries are actually dead, just about dead. So I need to charge it up because I already flew it. So that's why it's blinking. It does 3D flips really well. It recovers well. It'll raise up a little bit and then flip. When I was flying it earlier, it did go up and then just fell to the ground. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I thought I threw a prop, but I didn't. That's the only time that's happened, and basically it just shows you how durable it is. I just picked it up, put it on the ground, and then I pressed the 1-key takeoff, and away it went. So I would not be too worried about that. It was just a freak incident. It's not, in all the flights I've done, that's the only time that's happened, but just something to be aware of. The flight time on this is advertised at 4 to 5 minutes, but I get about 3 minutes or so, especially when you're recording some video, which I didn't record a ton of video, but it's not as long as advertised. But for flying around the house, it's perfectly fine, especially considering that the charge time is about 25 minutes, so it's not that bad. You have a camera and stuff in there, So I mean, you can't really expect it to fly too terribly long. And I think that that is pretty close to everything that I got here. Just kind of go over the notes. Yeah, I think so. Alright, so let's go ahead and get to the flight video. Alright, let's go for a test flight now of the CX-10WD. Real quick before we do, let's go ahead and go over the transmitter and the app real fast. I already have the controller binded with the Quadcopter. Let's go ahead, and what we're going to do first is we're going to go into our settings here, go to our Wi-Fi, and we're going to connect to the Wi-Fi for the Quadcopter. You can see it just popped up there. It's a CX-10WD-C2BBEA. You just may not say the exact same thing, but you just press that and press connect. Hopefully you can see that it shows up. And sometimes it does say that it crashes. I don't know why, but it's not a huge deal. Just go ahead, and now, of course, now it says it's connected, so we're ready to go. I think the app is running in the background, and that's why it says it crashes. Then you're going to go to the CX-10 Wi-Fi app. Make sure you get the one excuse me, off the Chinese app store that I have a link to in the description. So we're going to turn off the app controls first by clicking the on button, so it says off. And now we should be ready to go ahead and fly. So on the left controller, is where you're going to change your rates by pressing down on it, and we'll beep. And there's two beeps for intermediate mode. We'll start intermediate. Right, you'll press down, it'll beep, and then you'll push the direction you want to flip. So, and the top right here is your automatic takeoff, which you must use the takeoff, and your automatic landing is the down arrow. So let's go ahead, and we're going to press the up button here, and we're going to go ahead and have it take off. And there it goes. Very, very smooth. And I'm going to do a little FPV flying here. Before we do, I'm going to bring it back here. We're going to start the video. So I'm going to press the video icon on the app so we can get some video here to show you. There's no wind at all right now, so it flies really nicely outside. Imagine it's not real easy to see because it's so small, but it is a fun little flyer. Perfect for indoors or outdoors whenever there's not much wind. So I can see on my phone the video is nice. I mean, for a Nano quadcopter, you can't expect a whole lot better. Let's do a few flips here. So I'll take it up a little bit. And with the altitude hold, you have to be a little bit more, it's a little bit different than what you're accustomed to, because you're going to be pushing up a little harder on the controller than you would be used to be doing. So let's go ahead and do a flip. And whoa! And it just fell out of the air. Not sure why. That is odd. Let's see if we didn't lose a prop. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. That's the first time that's happened. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if it'll take back off. Yes, it will. So no big deal there. That's the first time that I've seen that happen in the 3 or 4 flights that I've done. Let's go ahead and try that again. There we go. Bring it a little closer so you can see it. There we go. Bring it back. Let's bring it in here and test an automatic landing. And it landed on its bottom, which is perfect. You want to get kind of close to the ground, because sometimes when you're doing that, it tends to flip over if you try to land from too high up. Let's go ahead now and just go ahead and take it up for a little bit more flight. I really like that auto takeoff is cool. I really like that. It does seem like at times the motors kind of hesitate there, and I've noticed that a little bit in the earlier flights. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It doesn't seem to affect too much. Obviously that failed flip there was a bit bizarre, but
you're not going to hurt anything doing that as small as this is. Let's go ahead and turn the video off. You're going to shorten the battery, the flight time a little bit there, recording video, just using a little more processing power in the battery. Let's go up to, let's go to expert mode now. Press down the left stick, got 3 beeps. And you can see it's a little bit faster. Sporty. Definitely a little better to use this if you're outside, because if you're inside, you know, you're gonna, unless you have a really wide open space, it may be a little too quick to try to fly that indoors. On expert mode. And now we are getting the LVC, so let's go ahead and bring it down. And there we go. It landed on its side, but that's okay. Alright, so that worked out really well, except for the flip, which was a bit odd, but that's the first time that's happened. So be sure to subscribe and check it back for some more future reviews. Thanks.